When it comes to the real estate market, one of the most amazing things about it is that it's constantly changing, which means that for you as a real estate agent, one of the main benefits is that you constantly have updated data that you can use to turn into leads and close sales. So if you're looking to find more ways to generate potential leads and sales here in 2024, that's exactly what we're going to cover in this video. Hey, what's up? It's Jeff with Property Brain, and in this video, I want to talk to you about how to take real estate data and turn it into leads and closed sale. Now, one of the reasons I want to talk about this is because as we're entering 2024, at the time of this video, the market is really unique, right? We have a low inventory in a lot of areas of the country. We have higher interest rates, and there's just not as much happening as there was a year or two ago. The number of sales are down. The number of agents that are seeing a lot of ability to make sales has decreased. And so we want to talk about how to take a resource that's available to all of us as real estate agents and actually turn it into closed sales. So there's three main methods we're going to talk about. The first two really lean on taking the data and turning it into a potential lead. And the last one really focuses on taking leads that you have or people that you're getting in front of on a repetitive basis and turning them into closed sales. Let's go ahead and jump on in and talk about these three different methods. All right, so method number one is to create custom market areas. And if you've been in real estate for long, you're either doing it yourself or you're familiar with other agents sharing out market updates. Things like what has happened in the last 30 days or in this month here in whatever city they're in. And they share things like the price per square foot, they share median sale price, number of days on market, how many homes have sold, and how that compares to maybe a year ago. And while this is a great idea, where it falls short in most cases is that most times real estate agents are sharing for the entire city. They're sharing one area and saying, here's what's happening in the market. But the problem with that is what is happening as the median level of the market may or may not have a direct impact on homes that are on the high end of the market or the lower end of the market, or really anything other than just that median. So when you're sharing out content and saying, here's what's happened in the market, to the person that's seeing that content, they may or may not actually be impacted by that data because their home might be very different from the median that is being represented in the data. The other problem is that they only have one potential thing to share. You can't go out and share that data of here's what's happening in the market every single day or every single week, because one, not enough is changing in the market for the data to really show a whole lot of differences. And two, people don't necessarily want an update that often, right? They don't need to see what is happening in the market every 3 days. But what we recommend doing is tweaking that a little bit and coming up with what we call custom market areas. So rather than sharing out information about the whole city, you're going to share about specific niche markets. By doing so, there's three main benefits. The first one is that the data is much more applicable to the person that's seeing it. If you're sharing out market data about a specific neighborhood or a sub area of town, the details that are being shared in that data are much more likely to affect somebody who's looking in that area or somebody who lives in that area and currently owns a home. So when you share out and say, here's what's happened with price, or here's what's happened with days on market, or anything like that, you're going to actually be sharing data that is much more likely to be true in their situation. Now, the second benefit is that you can really set yourself up as a market area expert. If you're sharing out data that's specifically just saying, here's what's happening in the entire city, when somebody comes to the point that they are needing to make a change or wanting to buy a house or sell a house, they may not necessarily think of you if you've just been sharing out city level data because maybe they've been seeing the same thing from a couple other agents. But if they're looking at a specific neighborhood or area of town and they know that they've seen content from you from that exact area, they're much more likely to think that you are an expert in that area and be much more likely to actually reach out to you rather than somebody who's just sharing general city level data. And the third main benefit of this is that you can share data more often. So generally sharing it maybe once a month is a really good method. But if you only have your city level data, you only have one piece of content. So if you're trying to share out content on a repetitive basis, you have 1 out of 30 days maybe that you can share. However, if you create a number of custom market areas, let's say you created 8 custom market areas, you could share out information about 2 market areas every week, all month, and then loop around and start again. And by doing so, you're sharing out information still only once a month per market area. And the people that are following you, whether it's through your email list or social media, or whether it's people you're having conversations with, the people that are interested in specific areas are going to tune in and learn about those areas, but you're also going to expose them to other areas that maybe they didn't know they were interested in. You're also going to touch other people, other followers or clients that are in those areas that are going to be excited to see that information. So by creating custom market areas, you can increase the quantity of data that you can share and the quantity of posts and content that you can create while still adding value and not overwhelming your followers with the same data over and over again. All right, so the second method is to do CMA outreach. If you follow any real estate coaches, you've probably heard somebody talk about the idea of the CMA a day. And this is where you send out a CMA to a past or prospective client every single day of the year. And ultimately by doing so, you're putting yourself in a position to have conversations and open doors that will get you listings or get you buyers, or maybe it'll get you referrals. While I love that method, the first thing I want to say is that when you're doing this, you need to make sure that your CMA is extremely high quality. If you're sending out basic CMAs that don't have a lot of details or that don't have a lot of adjustment, ultimately when they're getting in front of those clients, it's not going to provide a lot of value and might in fact not actually help you. It could even hurt you if you're sending out CMAs that aren't really giving them any great detail. So if you're going to take this method, which we highly recommend, the first thing you need to do is get really good at creating in-depth CMAs that really nail down the value and analyze the data in a really great way. Now, we've got plenty of other videos and blog posts and different things like that on this topic about how to create in-depth CMAs, how to do market analytics, and how to actually determine the adjustments that are needed. So I'd recommend that you check one of those out if you haven't already seen those. But before you get into this method, it's just really important to know that you need to be making sure that the CMAs you're providing are extremely high quality. Now that we've gone over that, let's talk about the benefits of doing the CMA outreach approach. The first main benefit is it helps you stay top of mind, right? This is one of the main reasons that real estate coaches recommend this, because by providing a CMA on an ongoing basis, let's say you did it every 3 months or every 6 months, you're going to be staying on top of mind for your client, even when they might not be looking at that time. You're providing them with something that's showing up in their inbox, they're being able to see it, look it over, and you're staying on top of mind. So if and when the time comes that they decide that they want or need to sell, you're more likely to be the person that they call. Now, the second benefit is that it provides value. Even if somebody is not in the market to buy or sell a house today, it doesn't mean that they don't need to know or don't want to know where their real estate is at. Maybe they're trying to make other important financial decisions, or they're trying to decide whether or not they want to invest in a business, or whether they need to get a certain type of HELOC, or they need to make changes in their financial life. Knowing what their potential value and ultimately what their potential equity position in their property is can be extremely helpful, even if they're not at all in the market to buy or sell a house. So by doing this CMA outreach on a repetitive basis, where clients can begin to count on the fact that they're going to be getting this information from you, is really providing an amazing service that your clients will be likely to appreciate. And again, putting the value there first and being able to put yourself out there and say, I'm providing you value and I trust that down the road, something will come of it for me, but I want to provide you value first, is a great way to approach a relationship with any of your clients, whether they're past clients you've sold a house to, or whether they're just prospective clients that you're hoping to one day sell a house to. Taking the first step to provide that value is an amazing way to build that relationship. All right, and the third way is it shows off your market knowledge. Now, I don't know about you, but I get a lot of CMAs sent to me, or automated CMAs, I should say, sent to me by a number of different agents. And the problem with it is that many of them, one, are either not at all close in price to what my properties are worth, or two, it's so impersonal that it doesn't actually connect me to that agent. And so one of the most important things when you're doing this CMA outreach is that you are being able to show off your market expertise by having a CMA that includes adjustment and shows the number of comps that you've selected and how they've been adjusted and how they impact the value. And then being able to connect that with an explanation or being able to give them some additional details to say, hey, here's why we feel that your house is where it's at, and here's what is happening in the market. You're being able to really show them that you're going above and beyond. And if they're like most people, they're probably getting some form of valuation from multiple sources. Maybe it's their lender, maybe it's title company, maybe it's other agents. And so by you doing an in-depth CMA, by doing a repetitive outreach, you're being able to provide them so much value, but you're also being able to show your market knowledge and the fact that you're going above and beyond what is typical in the real estate market. So it can really build that expertise and build the confidence in you so that when it does come time for them to buy or sell a house, they're much more likely to consider you than maybe some of the other people that are also showing up in their inbox. The third method is to price listings and analyze offers. And this one, like I said in the beginning, is a little bit more focused on taking leads you already have. You're probably already got a listing contract with somebody, or you're out showing houses and you're making offers. And we're trying to take them from that point to a closed sale. So how do we use the data to help us to do that? The number one way we can do that is by completing valuation analysis on property. So if we have a listing, we can do a valuation analysis on that listing when we first list it. We can also update that throughout the process to make sure that we have the most accurate picture of value possible so that we can make sure that the home is listed at the right price. It'll also help in the same way if we're out making offers for a buyer, we're showing them houses by being able to do a valuation analysis of those properties prior to making a listing. We're going to be able to have the best picture of what to recommend to the client as to what they should offer to get them the best deal, but also to get them the contract. All right, so in this one, there's four main benefits I want to talk about. The first one is it helps you stand out from the competition. If you're sitting down for a listing contract, let's say before you have the listing, if you're presenting an in-depth valuation analysis to them rather than a simple CMA, or some agents don't even have a CMA, right? They might have some market research and different things like that. But if you're sitting down showing them a in-depth CMA that has outlined, which other properties are the most similar, how those would adjust, how that plays out with market changes and all that sort of stuff, you're going to stand out from the competition. And so if there's a couple different agents that are vying for that listing, it's much more likely that the potential seller will view you in a light of higher expertise or higher knowledge because of the fact that you've gone more in depth and gone above and beyond what many of the others have done. And so it will help you stand out in that situation. The second benefit is it can also help with a faster sale and a better price. Now, if we're talking about a listing, having a correct value or as accurate value as possible, you're never going to get it exactly perfect. But the more accurate you can be means that the home is much more likely to sell fast and to sell for the most amount of money. And especially in a market like we're in right now, here at the beginning of 2024, pricing a property wrong right now has a lot of consequences. If you overprice a property, it's very likely that it will sit on the market for a long time, requiring multiple price decreases. In fact, I've seen a lot of properties that require so many price decreases that they get well below where they could have sold originally just because of the fact that they've now been on the market. They get that stigma, like, why have it been on the market for 60 or 90 or 100 days? And why has it had 4 price decreases? And many times it's because it was just priced too high to begin with. And then it creates a constant flow of price decreases and time on market, and it becomes a problem. On the opposite side, if you price a listing too low today, it's a lot less likely that you're getting multiple offers. Now, there's some areas of the country in certain markets where multiple offers are still happening. But as a whole, unlike in 2020 or 2021, we're generally not seeing multiple offer bidding situations that are driving the price up, unless it's listed extremely low, in which case it might still happen. But for the most part, if you price a property, let's say $30,000 low, you're much more likely to get it under contract for $30,000 lower than you should have than you are to get a bidding war that bids it up. Pricing a property at the onset can have huge implications into how fast you sell it and for how much you sell the home for. And ultimately, if your job as a listing agent is to be able to provide the best result for your client, your goal would be to get them the fastest sale possible within their parameters and the most amount of money. If you're representing a buyer, you want to make sure that if there are multiple offers, that you're presenting a strong offer. And you also want to make sure that you're getting them the best deal possible. So you can have a very clear picture as to what the potential value is for that specific property. You're much more likely to be able to argue for the price that you are seeing, even if it's different than the list price. This plays right into benefit number 3, which is easier negotiations. If you're trying to argue for a lower sale price than maybe a list price, this can be hugely helpful. If you go to the listing agent and you are trying to argue, but you have no data to back you up, it's going to be a lot less likely that the listing agent is going to see your side and be able to present that to their sellers. But if you come to them with data that shows why you're coming in at the price you're coming in at, it's much more likely that they will believe that and that they will be able to share that information with their sellers. It also comes into play on the selling side. If you get an offer that's way too low, it's a great way to be able to negotiate with that agent, to be able to show them why you're priced where you're priced, and be able to hopefully have them take that data back to their buyers and show them why you're at the price you're at. It can make negotiations way easier because it's not about emotion or feelings of what people want, but it's more about what the data is showing. And so it becomes a lot easier to make the negotiations go smooth and quick when you're presenting that type of data. And the last benefit is that it can help with appraisal issues. Now, one of the things that causes the most appraisal issues is just value being missed in the initial listing. What I mean when I say that is, when you price a property, if you haven't taken into consideration things like differences in square footage, lot size, the time of sale, bedroom or bathroom count, garage count, a bunch of different factors, if you haven't taken them into consideration and actually adjusted for them, you're much more likely to run into an appraisal issue down the road, because appraisers take each and every one of those things and more into consideration. So the more categories of a house that you can address and adjust, you're more likely to have a value that will line up with a potential appraisal value. Now, not every home requires an appraisal, and not every appraisal follows the same process, but by being able to approach valuation in a way similar to an appraiser, which is to do market analytics, to be able to adjust the comparables for time of sale, and then to be able to adjust them for any differences in square footage and bedroom and bathroom count and all the other amenities and features of the home, the more likely that you'll be close in line with an appraisal and therefore have less appraisal issues. It also means that if you've taken those stances of doing that at the onset, you're much more likely to be able to have a rebuttal for an appraisal if and when it comes in low, to be able to provide data and show why you are priced where you are. All right, so that is the 3 main ways that you can take data and turn it into leads and closed sales. And again, like I said at the beginning, my goal would be that you could use this information to help you here in 2024 and beyond to be able to create leads, to be able to create sales, whether you have no CRM, no database, no past clients, or whether you've sold thousands of homes and you have a huge pipeline of potential buyers and sellers. Ultimately, we're all looking for more ways to generate more business. And as the market changes constantly, we have the benefit of having constantly updated data that we can use to create content through custom market areas, to create content to share with potential buyers and sellers through CMAs, as well as data to allow us to do the analytics and actually price properties correct. So I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, shoot us a DM, an email, comment here on the video below, and we'd love to help you out. And if you want to find out a way to do all of this extremely easy, I'd love it if you would check out our software, Property Brains app. It allows you to do custom market areas, do property valuations, attach CMAs to clients, and everything I've talked about in this video. It makes it extremely easy to do. So again, thanks for taking the time to watch this video, and we'll see you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you found some of this information helpful. If you did, I'd love it if you'd hit the like button. And while you're at it, go ahead and follow us on some of your favorite social media channels to make sure that you can connect with us, where we can answer questions and just get to know you a little bit. Thanks again for watching the video, and we'll see you in the next one.